This African girl just said some of the most anti-black stuff I've ever heard in a long time. Let's joke about it.
Come on, Blaze.
It's the beef for me.
Wow, 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 for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we love.
What's up, y'all? Your girl Voodoo back with a quick little joke. Happy 4th of July. If that's what y'all celebrate, I don't really celebrate much of nothing except Christmas because I like the lights. But that's neither here nor there, girl. This African girl was on this dating thing that they have, I guess. I don't know, where you ask the person a question and if you like the answer, you say I'll like them or I'll date them, or you can pass them, right? So this guy asked this girl, she's from Africa. She made that very, very clear that, he basically asked her, hey, to make sweet potatoes, do you use 1 cup of water or 2? Instead of her just saying, hey, I don't know how to make sweet potatoes, or I don't know, she made a guess. And then when he said he wanted to pass, she decided to respond with something so anti-black by saying, well, I don't know how to make that. And I know where I'm from. I'm African. I'm not African American. I know who my grandfather is and who my great-grandfather is. Basically just down in black Americans. Or I hate calling us black Americans because black really means the deletion of something. It's the absence of. So I hate using black Americans, but I tend to use it in my videos because I feel like that's what we can identify with when we hear the words. But I prefer the indigenous people. Neither here nor there. That's too deep to get into right now. Nevertheless, she responded with such anti-blackness, and it was just like, sadly, I wasn't even shocked. Let me let y'all hear this doggone video, and I'll come right back with a little more commentary.
You was making sweet potatoes. Do you put 1 cup of water or do you put 2 cups of water?
What kind of sweet potatoes?
Sweet potatoes, candy yams.
Candy yams? How much sweet potatoes am I making?
A pot.
Feed how many?
It's a cooking channel? Do you
Feed
put
how many people?
1 cup of water, 2 cup of water.
How many people are we feeding? It doesn't matter?
Nope. 1 cup of water, 2 cups
Well,
of water.
I'm born and raised African. I'm not African American, so I don't know y'all culture. But if I were to make it, I don't know, shit. 2?
Sweet potatoes, you don't put no water in it.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to pass, but wait, so you wanna steal?
So y'all both gonna walk away? You gonna walk, okay?
Yeah. What? That's slave food. I don't do that, babe. I'm not a slave. I was never a slave. I don't know how slaves cook. I was never a slave. I know where my grandfather came from, my great grandfather, and where all their ass came from. Your ass don't know. You listen.
This the one right here. How you gonna say our food is slave food when half the stuff that we eat come from Africa? Goulash, we eat goulash, okra.
You're viewing Pleasure has some delicious Creole and soul food, aka slave food. That's what she called it. Do you know how low down, dirty, and insecure you gotta be to stand in a country and then insult, degrade, and berate the entire African American community of that country while being a black person yourself? Like, your immediate response was anti-blackness because you got embarrassed that you didn't know that you don't have to put water in sweet potato yams? Miss ma'am, there are sweet potatoes that are indigenous to Africa, the white kind, but the yellow kind have been over there since about the 16 or 1700s. They were introduced by the Spanish. The same time they brought them up here, they took them back to Africa. So, Miss Girl, if you don't know how to make sweet potatoes, that's on you and your grandma. They said you know who your people are, but they didn't teach you how to cook, baby girl. Your immediate response was anti-blackness. That is so insecure and disgusting.
Let me start by saying this. I know y'all just saw the video. I want to preface what I'm going to say in my thoughts by saying in no way am I trying to be divisive amongst Pan-Africanism or Black Americans or African Americans or Africans or whatever. None of that is my intent. However, I do want to point out some obvious things that we as people of color, not even people of color because that could be any color, us indigenous black people in America have to really just sit back and think about when we dealing with other people, right? Because just because they're your skin folk don't mean they're your kin folk, right? Just because they look like you don't mean that they are for you, right? Now, this ignorant I don't even want to call this girl out her name, but this ignorant person, right? Instead of just saying, oh, I don't know how to make sweet potatoes, or just say, hey, my mama, my grandfather, my grandmother never taught me that, she has to go into the dig, right? Oh, I'm not African American. I'm African. I know who my grandfather was and my great grandfather, as if most Black indigenous people of America don't know who their great grandfathers and all these people was. It's the anti-Blackness for me. And you know what makes it so much worse is, girl, while you over there in our culture with our lace fronts, in our culture with our mannerisms, with our nails, with everything that we do, that we created from Black indigenous Americans, right? You over there copying our whole gig, our whole style. Your image is us. And you gonna sit up there and try to degrade us while you on a show to date an African American? Listen, I want to tell y'all a story. Back in the Gap, after Hurricane Katrina, I came up to Atlanta, right? Me and my ex-husband were separated. He was doing something else. I came up here with my daughter. And I remember I met this African dude. And I remember when he brought me home to his house where his mom was, she was in the kitchen and she got to speak in whatever language it was they were speaking. But you can tell in the tone of her voice, she wasn't really here for me, being there, right? So he did what he had to do. We left. And I asked him, I said, what was your mama saying? And he was like, oh, no, don't worry about it. I was like, no, seriously. I said, I'm not going to take offense. I just want to know how she really feel. And he said, well, she was upset that I brought home you because you were African American. It was in that moment, and that had to be 2006. It was in that moment I knew that there was a divide. I get the whole Pan-African, movement, Dr. Umar and all of that stuff. I get all of that. I get the woke conscious people. I get that. But at the end of the day, what we have to realize is we are not the same. And that's not a bad thing. But we're not the same. But what I will not do is tolerate being disrespected or trying to have digs thrown at us because you felt some type of way because the dude passed on you. I mean, girl, how old are you? You are not even mature enough in your feelings to just take the L and keep it moving. You got to start throwing digs at a whole continent and group of people that has done nothing to you, who in fact embrace Africans. Do you hear me? Because we were taught the out of Africa theory, which I don't believe in. However, we were taught the out of Africa theory, and most Black indigenous Americans love and want relationships with Africans. But we have to start being smart enough to realize that not all of them, and I'm not saying all of them, but not all of them want the same with us. And that's okay. Because guess what? Black indigenous Americans are the only group of people on the face of the planet Earth that are taught inclusion. Africans aren't taught it. Asians aren't taught it. Caucasians aren't taught it. Hispanics aren't taught it. Only African Americans, right? And I'm only using that term so we can identify who we are, so you guys can understand what I'm saying. And you know what's so worse? We get that indoctrination through the schools and first through the church. It's so hard for a Black pastor to acknowledge and put a Black Jesus up on the wall, even though the Bible says his skin tone was a copper tone. Think about it. None of us are Black. Not one of us are Black. Even the Africans, none of us are Black. Black is a dark deletion. It's empty. We have a copper tone, right? But ultimately, it's just like the denial that we are taught and indoctrinated with through our parents, through the church, the Black church that is, and through all these other things have us taking L's left and right. Now, I want to be mad at this young lady, but it sounds like she's just an ignorant, nincompoop. You know what I mean? That's what it sounds like. But I do want to say to the young lady, if you're going to drag Black indigenous Americans, take off the lace front, take off the nails, don't have our mannerisms, don't use our quotes, don't talk like us, put your African garb on, wrap your head up, and eat your Golof rice or whatever the hell y'all eat. How about that? Yeah, I said it. Since she want to drag African Americans because she said that was so-called slave food and she was never a slave, then identify yourself and separate yourself. Why are you running around here looking like one of us? I'm just curious. Why is you around here looking like one of us? Girl, look, I just had to vent on this one. I know it's an old video. I've been supposed to make this video, but I was cleaning up my phone and I saw it and I had to come up here and talk to y'all about it. African Americans, aka Black indigenous Americans, aka indigenous copper tone people, stop trying to be friends with everybody. In no way, shape, or form am I trying to say to hate anybody or to be negative toward other people. There's nothing wrong with being friendly, but knowing that they are not our friends. That's just is what it is. And it's not a bad thing to put us first. It's just not. Because guess what? Everybody else do it. I'm just saying, I could be wrong, and I know I'm not, but y'all might feel like I am. Drop down in the comments and let me know. But this just kind of like, it really triggered me, because I'm just like, bad enough we got to deal with racism and all of this stuff from Caucasians and people of no color in my Sinji voice. We also have to deal with it from people who present as us, who look like us. You see the lace front, you see the nails, you see the cardigan, you see everything. She looked like a regular black woman. If nobody had told her, if she hadn't told anybody that she was from Africa, we would not have known. Because, girl, you're not giving Africa. You are giving down south Texas, South Carolina, Florida, New York, or something like that. That's what you're giving. So I just would urge the young lady that if she wants to separate herself, then do that all the way. Don't eat our food. Don't talk like us. Take off our lace front. Take off the nails, the makeup, all of that. Take all of that off. And I ain't saying y'all didn't do makeup in Africa. Y'all did, but you ain't do it like we do it out here. Take off the lashes. Take it all off, because we want it all back. We are repossessing our things, Miss Africa. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what y'all think about this little clip. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm looking forward to hear your comments, and I will see you hoes later. Bye.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.